How do you as an investor profit from this? Well, it's pretty easy. You don't need a personal loan, so your credit doesn't matter. So subject to investing does not require you to have cash. It does not require you to have credit. Doesn't require you to be employed. Doesn't require any of those things. Simply requires you to find a good deal. Minimal upfront investments compared to traditional financing. Immediate cash flow possibility of rental income exceeding the mortgage payments. Most sellers agree that subject to deals are in some sort of distress. They're behind in the mortgage payments facing foreclosure. They need immediate cash due to some personal distress such as sickness, divorce. They need to relocate for a job. A subject to deal can help provide a quick solution to whatever problem they face. The deal usually happens relatively fast. And in addition, sellers may be motivated by the possibility of improving their own credit and or avoiding broker fees. So the 5 steps to the subject to deal, please write these down. Okay, step number 1. Identify suitable properties, meaning look for motivated sellers who are facing financial hardship. Then conduct thorough due diligence. You're going to assess the property's condition and the mortgage details. You're then going to negotiate the terms, reach an agreement that is beneficial to both parties, draft the legal agreements. Now, for those that have Dealio, you have Senfuse, you're part of the Lee Arnold system, you're a Lease Inner Circle client. All of this stuff is in your back office, okay? You already have everything you need to do all of this. And then step 5, manage the property. So we take over the payments, oversee the property operations. Now, somewhere in your notes, I want you to write Lake City Servicing, okay? Lake City Servicing, because we do not service these deals ourselves. The way that we structured this deal that I just showed you is once we close escrow on the transaction, the buyer of this house needs to cut a check for $2,824 every month to the seller. But instead of that, we have the seller cut it to Lake City Servicing. So Lake City Servicing is going to receive the buyer's check for $2,824. Lake City Servicing is then going to cut a check to the seller's bank for $1,382. And then Lake City Servicing is going to cut a check to the seller for their profits. So the seller doesn't have any obligation for collection. There's no calling the borrower and saying, hey, how come you haven't paid me? There's no collecting the income and then cutting a check to her existing mortgage lender and having to deal with all the financing. There's no tax reporting because Lake City Servicing is going to do all of that. At the end of the year, you get all the tax documentation, how much interest has been paid, how much interest has been earned. All of that will be handled by Lake City Servicing, okay? And when we started Lake City Servicing almost 15 years ago now, we started it specifically to provide escrow services for subject to financing because so many servicers won't service this type of paper. And we love this type of paper. We've been doing this for the last 30 years, you guys. Well, since 96. So it's not so much that, oh my goodness, this is a new and exciting trend called subject to financing. No, we always look to do sub to financing on every deal because it limits the amount of cash that we have to bring to closing. So sub to is not something new, but the market has made it something that's even more exciting now than it ever was before, with interest rates elevated and property sales slowing because rates are elevated. It's a really good time to be in the market.